Welcome to a bit of a special episode of Fully Charged. Now, while I was visiting Berlin recently, I managed to find time to catch up with a few of my Formula E mates the day before the big race. But you've now seen every single race. There's actually not that many people who, other than obviously the teams and the crews have seen, but there's not that many people who have seen everyone and been at every one, but you have.
No, it's been phenomenal actually, yeah, just to get to know all the teams, all the drivers, and it's great now that we've got a set lineup for the drivers. You know, this is the third race that the driver lineup won't have changed. So at the beginning it was changing quite a lot, and everyone was finding their feet. But yeah, it's been fantastic to see it grow and develop. You know, I mean, the first race was awesome. You know, considering we got it off the ground. You know, they built a track from nothing in Beijing, and it all happened, and we had amazing crowds. The Prime Minister came down. It was fantastic.
Have you got the feeling that the public response to it has been pretty positive and enthusiastic rather than nah?
So I think everyone that's actually attended a race has been quite surprised at how much fun it's been and how much atmosphere and how good the racing's been, which I suppose is then, you know, the viewer at home. The racing on television has looked awesome. Yeah. You know, I think all the TV crew have done a really good job of making the racing look really fast. Yeah. And the drivers have provided so much action as well. I think because everyone's obviously driving the same car, which is really unusual for most motorsport series, it's making it really, really competitive between the drivers. So we're now really starting to see those rivalries come out. Whereas at the beginning, everyone was finding their feet. There are a lot of technical hiccups, issues with the car, suspension failures, but now everyone's really found their feet, got to grips with the technology, and it's all about the racing. Yeah. So by the time it gets to London, we'll be looking at the slickest automotive sport organisation in the world. Oh, I like that. It is in the world. Yes, we are going world domination. Formula E, here we come, if we haven't already achieved that. I'm just trying to catch up with the whole thing today because it's been such an experiment, and it could have failed, I suppose. Before it started, it was possible for it to not be a success.
Probably had about 80% of chances of failing in the beginning. So it's basically a miracle that we're here, but we are. So, you know, let's not complain. We're here, and I think now it's pretty good. I think now we are, you know, we went through, you know, a lot of challenges. We had a lot of, you know, difficulties to overcome. Most of them are, you know, behind us and ready now for next season, really. So looks pretty solid. Have you found that as the races have progressed, that there are more cities that go, oh, hang on a minute, that's quite good. We quite like that. Oh yes. We have a lot of cities on the pipeline. We have to be careful. We don't want to grow too fast because then it becomes a bit of a challenge for the teams, etc. But yeah, definitely lots of cities asking, and probably adding 1 or 2 next year. So yeah, should be. So next year is looking very good then. It's looking very positive that it will carry on. Oh yeah, next year. Oh no, it's carrying on for sure. But because also the big investment has been this year. You know, all these walls and fences, we can now use them for 20 years. But we had to buy them all in 10 different cities around the world. So with the big investment we've made, next year for sure we're continuing racing.
We've had all the races we've had so far. We've won a race since I last saw you. Yeah. So we must have learned something. Yes. And it's a good process, and we're still learning, and that's the. And I'm just thinking of the sort of questions I know that a lot of people that know very little about electric cars would want to know, and that is things like, do the batteries wear out with the usage you're giving them? Have they failed? All that sort of stuff. Okay, so we've had no safety issues whatsoever with the battery side of this car. So that's the one thing. That's the first thing I want to know sorted. So they've been incredibly safe to operate. We're not taking that for granted, and we're not. You know, we run through all our safety checks regularly, but they've been safe. That's good. Has there been degradation in performance? Not so you'd notice, and not so it would affect the racing. There are trends of performance that we've spotted, but no, there's no noticeable degradation that would affect the performance of these cars. Which is, I mean, because also the granular level of information you have about the batteries is going to be way above sort of the average electric car driver. You're going to know exactly every electron in those batteries. We like that. Yeah. So we like that, but people, when you drive a road car, you won't be interested in that. Yeah. You'll just want to know it starts and well, these cars work well for us. Right. And then I remember one of the things I asked you last time was, you've got so many laptops, I can't believe it. And you said, oh, I always want more. Have you got more laptops yet? No, because we're restricted in the number of people, and I can't get the guys to use 2 laptops at the same time effectively. So now we've got the same number of laptops. It's all down to the staff. You can't get the staff to do it. And in this championship, the amount of people that you can have operationally involved on the car is limited.
Right.
And that's done, it's done to 30 people, and it's done to restrict costs, and it's done specifically so that you don't have banks and banks of engineers and banks of laptops, and the costs increase. So it's the same number of laptops, I'm afraid.
Right. But you presumably are now data rich with all the races you've done.
Yeah, you can never have enough data, but we are data rich. We've got good understanding. Every time we go to a new track, we get more data, and we start to plug the holes that we haven't got. So every new track we go to, we work out the next bit of information that we want, and we make sure we get that. So it's a very logical process that we use of stepping through the understanding of these cars.
And I'm also assuming now that drivers have had a lot more experience, and also there seems to be a set number of drivers that are doing every race. That's been the case for the last few races, isn't it? So they must be learning the car. They must know the cars much better now.
Everything about the championship has stabilised, and that's really nice, because last summer when we met, it was new to everyone. The cars were new. It was new to the television crews. It was new to the public. That's now stabilised. We're 8 races in. The cars are working well. The grandstands are full and getting busier. There's more interest from sponsors, more interest from the media, and more interest from the public, and everything's becoming more stable. And the more stable it becomes, the more understood it is, the better it is for everyone. So yes, it's going well.
It's going well. Very good. Well, thanks very much, Peter.
Okay,
very good.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
The Formula E finals take place on the 27th and 28th of June in Battersea Park in London. And clearly, there's going to be a lot more Formula E fun in the future.